Welcome everyone. I hope you can all hear me. I'll give you all one more minute until we start, just to allow a few more people to join and for you to make sure that your audio is working. Hopefully you can all hear me if you are on the line already. So just bear with us for another 20 seconds whilst we wait for the rest of the attendees to join. And while we wait, actually, I'd like to mention that we will be handing out a worksheet at the end of this webinar, and this sheet will help you work out the correct value of your time. We know it can be hard to put a price on it and justify it, so stay to the end and we'll be sending everyone that worksheet out today. Okay, I think everyone's here, so let's get started. So we are recording today's session, so don't worry about taking notes. If you happen to miss anything, the recording will be sent across to you via email later today. And if at any point you can't hear me or if the slides aren't advancing, please do let us know by asking a question. You should be able to see on your GoToWebinar control panel that you can ask questions to the organisers, so just ping us there and we'll get straight back to you. Okay, so here we go. Do you ever feel like you've got too much to do and not enough time to do it? I'm sure that's probably a familiar feeling for most of you. And as a small to medium-sized business owner, your time is probably divided by managing all aspects of your firm, and you might feel that you're simply stretched too thinly. We'll take a look at these steps to help you effectively hone your time management skills and increase your productivity. So today we'll take you through some simple but incredibly valuable tips on how to manage your time better, as well as how to accurately calculate the value of your time. If you're wondering where the time goes, it's a good idea to make a diary of how you spend your day, logging all the activities you do, detailing how much time you spend doing each one. The idea is that this will help you identify tasks you spend longer on than others. And you can then look at those tasks and ask yourself how productive time spent on them actually is. So are you spending too long on activities that don't produce effective results? And if so, change needs to be made. Rebecca Alexander, executive coach at the Coaching Studio, advises, it's often useful to compare your tasks from the start of the week with what you've managed to achieve by the end of the week. If there's a consistent gap between the tasks you're setting yourself and what you're achieving, it's time to identify whether you're setting yourself too much, whether you're spending time on things you don't need to, or if ordinary tasks are taking you too long because of lack of confidence, resources, or motivation. Whichever of those three it is, and it might be more than one, make a plan for how to tackle it, try your plan out for a fortnight, and then evaluate what's worked. If you're finding it difficult to focus on particular jobs, try a system that was developed by Francesco Cirillo and based on a tomato-shaped timer that he used to get his tasks completed. Choose a job that you want to get done and tell yourself you will focus entirely on that task for 25 minutes. Set the timer and get to work. When the timer rings, give yourself a big tick and go and take a small break for 5 minutes. Make yourself a cup of tea, take a quick walk, or do some stretching exercises. When you've completed 4 Pomodoros, it's time to take a longer break. 20 to 30 minutes is about right. And during this time, your brain can relax and absorb new information before you start your next round of Pomodoros. The ticking sound of the timer as it passes serves as a purpose. It allows us to practice feeling time and stay focused, Cirillo says. And the physical action of winding the tomato timer is significant. It's a declaration of your determination to start working on the activity at hand. If you think of other tasks during this time, please quickly write it down and focus on it during another Pomodoro round. Reviews of the Pomodoro technique include increased focus, working harder, and getting a lot done during the 5-minute break outside of the task. Struggles seem to be sticking to the 25-minute rule if you've got a good flow and want to continue, but apparently one is allowed to continue for a few extra minutes. The 5-minute complete break is essential. And something to keep in mind, learning from people who've used it, it's not a technique to do every day of the week. So perhaps you can decide to do it twice a week between the set hours of those days. Use it as a tool for catching up on small tasks on your to-do list. Stefan Noteberg, author of the book Pomodoro Technique Illustrated, says, perfectionism prevents action. Waiting until you have devised the perfect solution to something is merely a form of procrastination. So that's something to think about. Now, let's talk to-do lists. Compiling a to-do list every day before you start work is crucial, and it will help you set a clear goal for the day and improve productivity. When you write out your lists, it's a good idea to put the items in order of importance. This will help you establish which jobs really have to be done today and which can be moved over to tomorrow's to-do list if necessary. Be realistic about what you can actually get done in one day, and perhaps break down larger jobs into smaller tasks to make them less overwhelming. An ambitious list that can't be completed by the end of the day will be demotivating and can sap your energy. Alexander says, the one thing you should always include is an important, not urgent section. These are tasks that might be very important in the medium to long term, such as finding a new supplier, planning next year's marketing, writing a recruitment plan, but which don't seem urgent now and so get put off by busy work that is urgent but not that important. Time management experts think we spend far too much time on urgent, non-important tasks and less than 10% of our time on important, not urgent tasks. Do you delegate? As a small business owner, you have to wear many hats, and you might think that you don't have the resources to get others to share their workload. But in fact, that could be a false economy. Identify those jobs you're not that good at and see if there's a way to offload them to a professional. If you try to do it all, you won't be able to manage your time effectively during busy periods, says Jennifer Chong, interior design project manager at Fayoi. It's worth delegating tasks that you don't enjoy or aren't good at to professionals who are better and faster than you. This could be accounts, marketing, technical drawings, social media, or small admin jobs. Outsourcing these jobs gives you more time to focus on the work you want to be doing and makes your business more efficient. This allows you to take on more work and ultimately will make your business more successful. How many times have you tried to do more than one job at the same time? We've all been there. We'll be in the middle of writing a presentation or report when an email query comes in that we decide to deal with right there and then. Or perhaps we decide to spend more time during a webinar putting together a spreadsheet. So think about what we spoke about earlier. The Pomodoro technique, for example. Give each focus the attention it needs and deserves. Multitasking does not mean you're a superhuman, but finishing your tasks for the end of the day will make you feel like one. Don't open your email account as soon as you arrive at work, says Alexander. If you have something important to do, tackle it the minute you get into the office, and crucially, before you open your email. That early extra hour can be the golden time to get things done. We tend to think we'll check emails or voicemails for 5 minutes, but then we get sucked into whatever those messages throw up. And before you know, it takes 2 hours and they've gone by and your important task hasn't even started. If you delay opening your email by an hour, you'll get a huge amount tackled, and let's be honest, most emails can wait for an hour before you respond. A recent study found that multitasking reduces productivity by 40%. So instead of trying to do umpteen things at the same time, organize your day into time slots where you can focus on each particular job with no distractions. When do you do your best work? Perhaps you have loads of energy to focus on tasks in the morning, or maybe you have a boost in the afternoon or evening. Where you can, schedule your most challenging or important tasks during your peak performance times, and leave the ones further down your to-do list for less productive hours of the day. As we all have them, no one can be 100% all of the time. Don't overschedule. So having an organized plan for your day is the best way to improve your time management, but do remember to allow space for the unexpected. After all, there are always unscheduled tasks that come along and you need to be able to deal with them just as efficiently as those jobs you've already factored into your day. Fortunately, by being organized with your time and using some of the techniques mentioned above, you'll hopefully find that you have freed up some more opportunities to be spontaneous. So Pro Plus is our local paid program that allows you to be seen thousands of times a month in front of affluent homeowners for larger selective projects over the year. With Pro Plus, you get your very own personal account manager who will, together with you, build an effective and tailored program to suit you and your business. They'll make sure you're being seen on Houzz in front of the right people in the right areas. On a regular basis, you can evaluate your success from your analytics dashboard, and from there, you and your account manager can improve your program. Pro Plus will give you the tools you need for your web presence and to track and respond to inquiries. So Pro Plus has the ability to save you a lot of time and increase your revenue year on year. To know what your time is truly worth, you'll need to do some maths, but don't worry, we'll talk you through it now. At the end of this section, you'll be able to identify how much your time is worth and how much more revenue you could be generating if you optimized your time. So first, you'll have to calculate the amount of revenue you bring into your business for the year. Then you'll need to estimate your total time you spent working last year. Dividing these will tell you how much money you're making every hour. It's good to know your revenue per hour, but it doesn't quite tell you what your time is worth. Chances are some of the hours worked were sucked up with administrative tasks or other typical office duties, things that others who do not have your home remodeling and design expertise could be doing. A more accurate way to determine what your time is worth is to look at your revenue generated per billable hour. A billable hour is the time you spent doing the things only you can do, like working with clients, creating renderings, choosing furniture or materials, etc. Look through work logs and invoices to see how much time you spent doing tasks only you could do, or estimate if you didn't keep track. How many hours did you spend on those tasks? Now, take the total amount of revenue you generated, calculated on the previous slide, and divide it by the number of billable hours. This will give you your revenue generated per billable hour. Chances are your revenue generated per billable hour is higher than your revenue generated per hour. And this is because you're spending time doing tasks that you're not paid for, like working on your website or making sure that your books are balanced. So the next step is to find out just how much time you're spending on tasks that could be delegated. So take the total amount of hours you worked last year and subtract your total billable hours. This will give you your hours worth that could be delegated. The number of hours spent working on things that could have been delegated represents time you could be using to generate more revenue if you were to spend that time on tasks only you could do. Here's how you'll figure that out. Take the total number of hours you spent working on tasks that could be delegated and multiply that by your revenue generated per hour. This will give you an indication on your potential additional earnings you could be bringing in. So here are some action items for you. Is the amount of money you're leaving on the table because you're doing tasks that anyone else could do enough to think about delegating some of those jobs? Here are a few steps you can take immediately to get the most value out of your time as a skilled professional. So number 1, identify the tasks you can delegate. Number 2, find services or tools to handle those tasks. Number 3, use the extra time to take on more projects. And there are some additional recommendations before you delegate. While delegating tasks certainly frees up your schedule, keep in mind that this worksheet is simply an exercise to help you visualize what is possible in terms of revenue. Before you outsource a task to a service or employee, ask yourself the following questions. Will I be able to work as many hours as I delegate, or will I need to account for time spent training or managing? If I outsource the task, will the cost of the service or employee to do the task be worth it? And would I realistically be able to take on more work with my freed up hours? Okay, and as promised, today we'll be emailing you a worksheet to help you define marketing success. So thank you all for continuing to the end of the webinar. We'll be sending that out shortly. And during the webinar, we've actually had quite a few follow-up questions on the Pro Plus feature that Houzz offers. Okay, so I'm going to read a few of these out now, and we'll be answering them as we go. And anyone else that has any questions, please do type them into the question box on your GoToWebinar control panel. We'll try our best to answer them now, and if not, we'll be answering them as a follow-up to the webinar. Okay, so here's one question. Can we try Pro Plus for a few months as a trial? Okay, great question. So actually the exposure runs much more successfully over 12 months. So it's a 12-month minimum agreement that we go for. It's that's really the time that you need to be able to get traction and start making Pro Plus work for you. Okay, there's another one here I can see about your account manager. So how often does the account manager help you? Okay, so the answer to this is you have a dedicated partnership with your account manager for 12 months, and they will typically schedule calls in with you every 6 to 8 weeks. So they'll be keeping you ticking along throughout the year, helping you and answering any questions you might have, and constantly tweaking your program to make sure it's really working for you. And another question, so does the account manager help you with other social media as well? So no is the answer to that one. It's purely on Houzz that they're working with you on. And final one, is December a good period to join Houzz? So that's an interesting question. So we know that actually December is a time where people are obviously more often in the home, and hence it tends to be quite a high traffic month to the site. It's a great time actually to get your business visibility set up for success, and a great time to kind of go straight into the new year with everything set up and hitting the ground running. Okay, so we'll answer any questions you might have in the comment box in the GoToWebinar control panel. So please, if you've got some more, please do type them in. We're going to be here for another 10 minutes, so feel free to ask away. Anything related to this webinar or Houzz in general, we'll be really happy to answer them. So ping us any questions in that GoToWebinar question box. And if after this webinar you realise you do have a question, you haven't asked it, you can email us on ukprocommunity@houzz.com, and someone will be in touch with you as soon as possible. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining me today. I hope that's been useful for you, and I wish you the best for the rest of your day.